Belt tightening. The act of reducing expenses, especially in financial difficulties. Cost cutting. Economy drive. Financial prudence. Austerity. How has belt tightening impacted your lifestyle? In times of financial difficulty, belt tightening has become essential for me. It's taught me the value of prudence. Business cycle. The natural rise and fall of economic growth over time. Economic cycle. Market trends. Economic fluctuation. Economic phases. What factors influence a business cycle in your country? Factors like consumer spending and government policies play vital roles in shaping our business cycle. Cash cow. A product or service that generates a steady, dependable flow of revenue. Revenue generator. Profit maker. Income source. Money maker. Why do companies focus so much on their cash cows? Cash cows are critical as they provide consistent revenue, which can be reinvested into other ventures or projects. Bottom line. The final profit or loss figure of a company, or the most important factor in a situation. Net profit. Financial result. Outcome. End result. How should businesses prioritize their bottom line over other factors? Businesses must balance their bottom line with customer satisfaction to ensure sustainable growth. Comptroller. A person responsible for overseeing financial operations and ensuring compliance with policies. Financial manager. Auditor. Supervisor. Financial officer. How does a comptroller contribute to a company's success? A comptroller ensures financial compliance and accuracy, playing a pivotal role in maintaining fiscal health. Buyout. The purchase of a company's shares to gain controlling interest. Acquisition. Takeover. Purchase. Investment. What are the pros and cons of a buyout? While a buyout can bring fresh perspectives and opportunities, it may also result in significant organizational change. Equity. Ownership in assets after liabilities have been deducted, fairness or justice. Ownership. Stake. Fairness. Justice. Why is equity considered important for businesses? Equity reflects fairness and financial ownership, offering stakeholders justice and a clear view of their net worth. Hedge. A strategy to minimize risk in investments or financial decisions. Risk management. Insurance. Protection. Safeguard. How can individuals use hedging to protect their finances? Hedging acts as insurance, allowing individuals to safeguard their investments from potential losses. Top line. The revenue generated by a company before deducting any expenses, the first figure in financial statements. Gross revenue. Sales. Revenue. Turnover. Why is focusing on the top line important for companies? Concentrating on the top line ensures a steady income stream and can guide businesses in achieving growth and higher turnover. Cash flow. The total amount of money being transferred into and out of a business. Liquidity. Financial inflow. Money movement. Capital stream. How can companies effectively manage their cash flow? Proper management of liquidity ensures smooth operations, keeping a constant capital stream and financial inflow intact. Depreciation. A decrease in the value of an asset over time, often due to wear and tear. Asset devaluation. Value reduction. Wear and tear. Amortization. Why do businesses account for depreciation in financial statements? Recording depreciation helps businesses manage asset deterioration and allocate funds for future replacements or upgrades. Cartel. A group of independent organizations formed to control prices and production in a particular market. Consortium. Alliance. Trust. Syndicate. How do cartels affect fair competition in industries? Cartels, such as alliances or syndicates, often manipulate markets, limiting competition and consumer choices. Takeover. The acquisition of one company by another, often gaining control of its operations. Acquisition. Buyout. Corporate merger. Handover. Why are takeovers considered both beneficial and controversial? While takeovers can lead to growth and new opportunities, they may also disrupt staff and operations post-merger. Capital market. A marketplace where buyers and sellers trade financial securities, such as stocks and bonds. Investment market. Financial exchange. Securities market. Stock exchange. How do capital markets contribute to a country's economy? Capital markets, like trading hubs or stock exchanges, boost the economy by channeling savings into productive investments. Asset stripping. The practice of buying a company and selling its assets separately for profit, often seen negatively. Value extraction. Divestment. Asset liquidation. Resource allocation. Why is asset stripping sometimes viewed negatively in the business world? Asset stripping, although profitable, is criticized as resource allocation that often results in job losses and company instability. Biopsy. A medical test involving the removal of tissue to examine for disease. Sample. Specimen. Tissue test. Pathology analysis. Why is a biopsy an important medical procedure? A biopsy, or tissue test, is crucial as it helps in the accurate diagnosis of diseases such as cancer by analyzing the collected specimen. Catheter. A thin tube inserted into the body to administer or remove fluids. Tube. Drainage. Medical insert. Conduit. How does a catheter help in medical treatment? A catheter, often referred to as a medical tube, is vital for draining fluids from the body or delivering medication directly, ensuring effective treatment. Chemotherapy. A type of cancer treatment using powerful drugs to destroy or slow down cancer cells. Cancer drugs. Chemo. Cancer therapy. Oncology treatment. What makes chemotherapy a common choice for treating cancer? Chemotherapy, also known as chemo or oncology treatment, is frequently chosen for its ability to target cancer cells, helping to either reduce tumors or eliminate the disease. Rheumatology. The branch of medicine dealing with rheumatic diseases like arthritis. Joint health. Arthritis care. Autoimmune medicine. Musculoskeletal care. Why do patients with joint diseases visit a rheumatologist? Patients often consult a rheumatologist to receive specialized care in musculoskeletal conditions such as arthritis, also known as joint health issues. Suture. A stitch or series of stitches used to close a wound or surgical incision. Stitch. Thread. Surgical closure. Wound repair. How does a suture aid in wound healing? A suture, or surgical closure, plays a critical role in holding the wound edges together, promoting faster healing and reducing the risk of infection. Urology. The branch of medicine that focuses on the urinary system and male reproductive organs. Urinary medicine. Genitourinary care. Nephrology, related field. Bladder health. Why do patients visit a urologist? Patients visit urologists for urinary medicine to address issues like kidney stones, bladder health, or male reproductive concerns. Ophthalmology. The branch of medicine dealing with the diagnosis and treatment of eye disorders. Eye medicine. Vision care. Ocular health. Optometry, related field. How does ophthalmology contribute to health care? Ophthalmology, focusing on eye medicine and ocular health, helps preserve vision by diagnosing and treating various eye disorders. Otorhinolaryngology. The medical specialty that deals with the ear, nose, and throat, ENT disorders. ENT medicine. Audiology, related field. Sinus health. Throat care. What is the role of otorhinolaryngology in healthcare? Otorhinolaryngology, also known as ENT medicine, addresses health concerns related to the ear, nose, throat, and connected systems. Dermatology. The branch of medicine concerned with skin, hair, and nail health. Skin care. Dermal treatment. Cosmetic dermatology. Trichology, related field. Why do people seek dermatological care? People visit dermatology specialists for skin care or dermal treatments to manage conditions like acne, rashes, or hair-related concerns. Radiology. The branch of medicine that uses imaging technologies to diagnose and treat diseases. Imaging medicine. Diagnostic imaging. Medical scanning. X-ray analysis. What is the significance of radiology in modern medicine? Radiology, or diagnostic imaging, plays a pivotal role in modern healthcare by providing detailed images to aid in diagnosing and treating various illnesses. Oncology. The branch of medicine focused on the diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of cancer. Cancer medicine. Cancer care. Tumor treatment. Cancer therapy. How does oncology support cancer patients? Oncology, specializing in cancer medicine and cancer therapy, provides a comprehensive approach to managing and treating cancer effectively. Stethoscope. A medical instrument used to listen to the sounds of the heart, lungs, and other organs. Listening device. Auscultation tool. Diagnostic instrument. Medical equipment. How does a stethoscope help doctors? A stethoscope, also referred to as an auscultation tool, aids doctors in diagnosing health conditions by listening to internal body sounds such as heartbeats and breathing. Antidote. A substance that counteracts poison or reverses its effects. Remedy. Cure. Neutralizing agent. Toxin countermeasure. Why are antidotes essential in toxicology? Antidotes, known as remedies or neutralizing agents, are critical in toxicology to counteract poisons and prevent further harm. Homeopathy. A form of alternative medicine using natural substances to treat health conditions. Natural healing. Alternative therapy. Holistic medicine. Herbal treatment. Why do some people choose homeopathy over conventional medicine? People often opt for homeopathy, which is a form of holistic medicine, due to its focus on natural healing and treating conditions without strong chemical interventions. Chiropractic. A healthcare practice focusing on diagnosing and treating mechanical disorders of the spine. Spinal therapy. Manual adjustment. Musculoskeletal care. Back treatment. What makes chiropractic popular among patients with back pain? Chiropractic care, also known as spinal therapy or manual adjustment, is popular for providing relief from back pain and improving posture through hands-on techniques. Syringe. A medical instrument used for injecting or withdrawing fluids from the body. Injection device. Hypodermic needle. Medical injector. Fluid extractor. How is a syringe commonly used in medical treatments? A syringe, often called a hypodermic needle or medical injector, is used to administer medications or draw fluids for diagnostic purposes. Ointment. A smooth, oily substance applied to the skin to heal or protect it. Topical cream. Salve. Balm. Skin application. Why do patients use ointments for skin conditions? Patients use ointments, often referred to as salves or balms, to treat or soothe skin conditions like cuts, burns, or rashes. Analgesic. A medication that relieves pain. Pain reliever. Painkiller. Comfort medication. Pain suppressant. What role do analgesics play in pain management? Analgesics, also known as pain relievers or comfort medications, play a crucial role in managing pain from injuries or chronic conditions. Anticoagulant. A drug that prevents blood clotting. Blood thinner. Clot preventer. Coagulation inhibitor. Hemostasis agent. Why are anticoagulants prescribed to patients? Anticoagulants, commonly called blood thinners or clot preventers, are prescribed to avoid dangerous blood clots that can lead to strokes or heart attacks. Decongestant. A medication that reduces nasal congestion. Nasal reliever. Sinus medicine. Airway clearing agent. Respiratory aid. Why is a decongestant helpful during a cold? A decongestant, or sinus medicine, is helpful during a cold by clearing nasal passages and making breathing easier, providing relief from congestion symptoms. Hypnotic. A substance or technique that induces sleep or a trance-like state. Sleep inducer. Tranquilizer. Sedative. Relaxant. Why are hypnotics prescribed in medical treatment? Hypnotics, also known as sedatives or tranquilizers, are often prescribed to help patients with sleep disorders or severe anxiety achieve restful sleep. Prophylactic. A measure or substance intended to prevent disease or medical conditions. Preventative. Protective measure. Precautionary tool. Disease barrier. How do prophylactic methods improve public health? Prophylactic methods, such as preventative treatments or precautionary tools, play a crucial role in stopping the spread of diseases and promoting public health. Lozenge. A small medicinal tablet intended to dissolve slowly in the mouth to soothe the throat. Throat tablet. Cough drop. Medicated candy. Soothing disc. Why are lozenges commonly used for throat discomfort? Lozenges, often referred to as throat tablets or cough drops, are used to alleviate throat discomfort by releasing soothing ingredients as they dissolve. Draft. A single dose of liquid medicine. Potion. Liquid dose. Medicinal drink. Tonic. What is the significance of a draft in traditional medicine? A draft, also known as a medicinal drink or tonic, has been a traditional method to deliver liquid remedies quickly and effectively to treat various ailments. Salve. An ointment applied to the skin for healing or soothing purposes. Balm. Topical cream. Skin soother. Healing ointment. How does a salve support skin recovery? A salve, also called a healing ointment or balm, supports skin recovery by providing a protective layer and alleviating irritation or inflammation. Palpitation. A noticeable or irregular heartbeat caused by excitement, stress, or illness. Fluttering. Pounding. Racing. Throbbing. What are the main causes of palpitations? Palpitations can occur due to stress, excitement, or medical issues. For example, moments of extreme anxiety can cause heart fluttering, while physical exertion might lead to a pounding or racing heartbeat. Consumption of stimulants often makes the heart throb. Eczema. A skin condition characterized by inflamed, itchy, or cracked skin. Dermatitis. Rash. Irritation. Inflammation. What steps can individuals take to manage eczema? To manage eczema, people should moisturize regularly to avoid irritation. Additionally, reducing exposure to allergens and using creams can help lessen skin rash and prevent dermatitis. These measures also reduce the severity of skin inflammation. Pneumonia. A severe lung infection that causes the air sacs to fill with fluid or pus. Lung infection. Respiratory ailment. Chest infection. Bronchopneumonia. How can pneumonia affect daily life? Pneumonia can make breathing difficult, leading to fatigue and lowered productivity. For instance, severe lung infections can disrupt physical activity, and untreated chest infections might lead to serious complications like bronchopneumonia. Frostbite. Injury to tissues caused by prolonged exposure to freezing temperatures. Freezing. Cold burn. Frost injury. Chilling damage. How do people protect themselves from frostbite? To prevent frostbite, individuals should wear insulating clothing. This helps in reducing frost injuries and prevents cold burns caused by prolonged exposure to extreme cold. Layers also protect sensitive areas from chilling damage or severe freezing. Catarrh. Excessive mucus buildup in the respiratory tract, usually due to infection. Mucus congestion. Phlegm. Nasal discharge. Respiratory blockage. What is the impact of catarrh on health? Catarrh often leads to discomfort, with persistent mucus congestion and difficulty breathing. Excessive phlegm and nasal discharge can affect concentration and result in significant respiratory blockage, impairing daily activities. Malaise. A general feeling of discomfort or unease that is often linked to illness or fatigue. Discomfort. Fatigue. Unease. Lethargy. What factors contribute to a sense of malaise? Malaise can stem from lifestyle habits, such as lack of sleep or poor diet. For instance, chronic fatigue from overworking may lead to a sense of discomfort or lethargy. Stressful environments also contribute to physical and emotional unease. Contagion. The spread of a disease from one person to another through direct or indirect contact. Infection. Transmission. Spread. Contamination. What measures can be taken to prevent contagion? To prevent contagion, people should follow proper hygiene practices, such as frequent hand washing. Limiting physical contact can also reduce the spread or transmission of infections. Malady. A disease or ailment that affects the body or mind. Illness. Disorder. Condition. Sickness. How does a malady affect an individual's routine? A severe malady, like a chronic illness or mental disorder, can disrupt daily tasks and impact overall productivity. Prolonged sickness may require medical attention. Congestion. The excessive buildup of substances, such as mucus or traffic, in a specific area. Blockage. Obstruction. Accumulation. Overcrowding. What can lead to traffic congestion in cities? Congestion is often caused by poor urban planning and excessive vehicles. Roads experience blockages and accumulation of cars, leading to severe obstruction and delays. Lesion. An abnormal area of tissue damage, often caused by injury or infection. Wound. Ulceration. Sore. Abrasion. How are skin lesions typically treated? Skin lesions are often treated with medicated creams to reduce infection. For deeper wounds or abrasions, cleaning the area thoroughly is crucial for healing. Ulcer. An open sore on an external or internal surface of the body, often caused by an infection or prolonged pressure. Sore. Canker. Blister. Erosion. What are the main causes of stomach ulcers? Stomach ulcers are frequently caused by excessive acid production or bacterial infections. These conditions lead to internal sores and tissue erosion over time. Pathogen. A microorganism, such as a virus or bacteria, that causes diseases. Germ. Microbe. Infectious agent. Bacteria. How do pathogens spread in crowded areas? Pathogens spread through direct contact or air in crowded areas. For instance, germs or microbes can quickly infect individuals in such settings. Indisposition. A mild illness or state of being unwell. Unwellness. Discomfort. Ailment. Sickness. How does indisposition impact one's productivity? Indisposition, even a mild ailment, can lower productivity by causing physical discomfort. Such unwellness often leads to temporary fatigue or reduced focus. Bout. A short period of intense activity, illness, or emotion. Episode. Attack. Spell. Occurrence. Can frequent bouts of illness weaken immunity? Yes, frequent bouts of illness, like flu episodes, can weaken the immune system. Persistent attacks of infection may lower resistance to future occurrences. Patient 0. The first identified case in an outbreak of a disease. Initial case. Index case. Primary case. First carrier. Why is identifying patient 0 crucial in outbreaks? Identifying patient 0 helps track the disease's origin. The index case can provide clues to control the primary case and limit further spread. Gas chamber. A sealed chamber in which a lethal gas is used to execute prisoners. Execution room. Lethal chamber. Death chamber. Poison chamber. What are your thoughts on capital punishment in some countries? I believe that the use of the gas chamber as a form of execution is an incredibly controversial issue. Some people argue it's a more humane option compared to other methods like the electric chair or lethal injection, but I still think all forms of capital punishment are cruel. To stone. To kill someone by throwing stones at them, usually in a public execution. Stoning. Pelting. Throwing rocks. Hurling stones. Have you ever heard of historical punishments like stoning? Yes, stoning was a traditional method of execution in ancient societies, though it's incredibly harsh and barbaric. Nowadays, it's seen as a form of brutal punishment that has no place in modern society. To mutilate. To violently damage or disfigure a person's body. Disfigure. Mangle. Maim. Deform. How do you feel about acts of violence that lead to mutilation? Mutilation is absolutely horrific. It's a form of violence that goes beyond just harming someone physically, it leaves lasting psychological scars as well. It's disturbing how some people can engage in such extreme acts of violence. To incarcerate. To imprison or confine someone, especially for a long period. Imprison. Detain. Jail. Confine. Do you think people should be incarcerated for minor crimes? While incarceration might seem necessary for serious crimes, I think imprisoning people for minor offenses can be excessive and damaging. Alternatives, like fines or community service, might be more effective and humane than just locking someone in jail. To forfeit. To lose or give up something, especially as a penalty for wrongdoing. Relinquish. Surrender. Give up. Lose. Have you ever had to forfeit something important to you? Yes, I had to forfeit my ticket to a concert once because of an unexpected emergency. It was disappointing, but I had no choice but to relinquish it, as I was unable to attend. To retaliate. To take revenge or retaliate in response to a wrong done. Revenge. Avenge. Get back at. Payback. Do you think it's okay to retaliate if someone wrongs you? I believe in self-control, so retaliating isn't always the best approach. Sometimes, it's better to walk away rather than taking revenge. However, I can understand why people might feel the need to get back at someone in certain situations. To flog. To beat someone with a whip or stick, typically as a form of punishment. Whip. Lash. Beat. Scourge. Do you think corporal punishment like flogging is acceptable? Flogging is a form of punishment that should never be acceptable in modern society. It's an inhumane practice, and I feel that whipping someone to punish them is not only cruel but also a violation of human dignity. Corporal punishment. Physical punishment, such as caning, flogging, or other forms of bodily harm, usually as a penalty. Physical punishment. Whipping. Flogging. Beating. What is your stance on corporal punishment in schools or families? Corporal punishment should be banned, in my opinion. It has been proven that physical punishment only creates fear and anger in children. Instead, I believe in using more positive disciplinary measures, such as timeouts or verbal correction, rather than beating a child. Solitary confinement. The isolation of a prisoner in a separate cell, away from other inmates, often as a form of punishment. Isolation. Segregation. Confinement. Seclusion. Do you think solitary confinement is a fair punishment for prisoners? Solitary confinement is a highly controversial practice. While it's meant to punish and separate dangerous prisoners, I think it can have detrimental effects on their mental health, leading to long-term isolation and seclusion that may be more harmful than helpful. Guillotine. A device used for executing people by beheading, typically in the past. Executioner. Decapitation. Head chopper. Beheader. What do you think of historical methods of execution like the guillotine? The guillotine was once a common method of execution, particularly in France. While it was meant to be quick and efficient, I still find it deeply unsettling. In modern times, we should move away from such brutal forms of decapitation and adopt more humane alternatives to capital punishment. Retribution. Punishment that is considered to be morally right and deserved, often in response to wrongdoing. Revenge. Vengeance. Justice. Payback. Do you think retribution is a fair way of seeking justice? While retribution might seem fair to some, I believe it often fuels a cycle of anger and resentment. Seeking revenge rarely leads to true healing or resolution. I think a more restorative approach to justice would be better for everyone involved, as it focuses on rehabilitation rather than revenge. Restitution. The act of restoring something to its original state or compensating for a loss or injury. Compensation. Reimbursement. Return. Repayment. What is your opinion on restitution for victims of crimes? Restitution is crucial because it provides victims with a sense of justice and closure. When someone has suffered a loss, whether financial or emotional, the offender should make reparations or compensation to address the harm done. It's an important part of the justice system. Warden. The person in charge of a prison or correctional facility. Guard. Supervisor. Overseer. Custodian. How do you think the role of a warden affects the behavior of prisoners? A warden plays a critical role in maintaining order and discipline within a correctional facility. Effective supervision can ensure a safer environment for both inmates and staff. However, a guard who is overly strict might create tension, so balancing authority with empathy is key. Committal. The act of sending someone to prison or a mental institution, especially by legal process. Commitment. Confession. Submission. Detention. Can you describe the process of committal to a mental health facility? Committal is usually a legal process where a person is sent to a mental health facility after being deemed unable to care for themselves or pose a risk to others. It's a serious decision that should be made based on professional evaluation and not just a submission to authority. Detention. The action of keeping someone in custody or confinement, typically as a punishment. Imprisonment. Confinement. Custody. Jail time. Do you think detention is an effective punishment for minor crimes? For minor offenses, detention might be too harsh. I believe alternatives like community service could be more effective than putting someone in custody. However, for more serious crimes, imprisonment might be necessary as a deterrent to others. Firing squad. A group of soldiers or officials who execute a person by shooting them. Execution team. Rifle squad. Shooting group. Gun squad. What is your view on methods of execution like the firing squad? The firing squad is one of the more brutal forms of execution and raises significant ethical concerns. While it might be seen as a more honorable method in some cultures, I think all forms of execution are inherently problematic, as they involve taking a life in a violent manner. To parole. To release a prisoner before their full sentence has been served, on the condition of good behavior. Release. Liberate. Discharge. Free. Do you believe prisoners should be eligible for parole after serving part of their sentence? I believe that if a prisoner shows genuine reform and good behavior, they should be eligible for parole. Releasing someone on parole can offer them a chance to reintegrate into society, but it should be monitored closely to ensure they don't reoffend. To lynch. To kill someone, especially by hanging, without a legal trial, often by a mob. Hang. Execute. Kill. Murder. How do you feel about the practice of lynching in history? Lynching is one of the most horrific and unjust acts in history. It's a form of murder carried out without any legal process, often driven by racial hatred. I believe such violence should never be tolerated, and we must strive for a legal and ethical system of justice. To confiscate. To take away something, usually as a penalty for wrongdoing. Seize. Repossess. Forfeit. Take. Do you think it's fair for authorities to confiscate personal property as a punishment? I think confiscating property should only occur if it's truly necessary, such as in cases of illegal activity. For example, If someone is caught with contraband, it would be reasonable for authorities to seize the items involved. However, the process should be fair and transparent. Reprieve. A temporary delay or cancellation of a punishment, especially a death sentence. Pardon. Stay of execution. Amnesty. Suspension. Do you think someone on death row should be granted a reprieve? In some cases, a reprieve might be necessary, especially if new evidence comes to light. It's important that justice is truly served, and a stay of execution can help prevent a potential miscarriage of justice. I would argue that we should be cautious when carrying out irreversible punishments. Executioner. A person responsible for carrying out the death sentence. Killer. Beheader. Execution agent. Hangman. How do you feel about the role of an executioner in modern society? The role of an executioner is deeply troubling. Even though it might be considered necessary in some legal systems, I personally find it disturbing to think of someone being tasked with carrying out such irreversible acts. I believe society should work towards reducing the use of capital punishment altogether. Penitentiary. A type of prison or correctional facility, especially one for long-term incarceration. Prison. Correctional facility. Jail. Detention center. What is your opinion on the conditions in a penitentiary? The conditions in some penitentiaries can be quite harsh, and I believe there should be more focus on rehabilitation. While it's necessary to have facilities for long-term incarceration, we should aim to provide programs that help prisoners reintegrate into society. Simply locking someone up for years doesn't always lead to reform. Capital punishment. The legally authorized killing of someone as a punishment for a crime, especially murder. Death penalty. Execution. Death sentence. Judicial execution. Do you think capital punishment should be abolished? I believe capital punishment should be abolished. No matter how severe the crime, taking someone's life is irreversible and often disproportionate. The system can be flawed, and innocent people have been wrongly convicted and executed. I would rather see life sentences without the possibility of parole as a punishment. Extradition. The action of sending a person accused of a crime back to the country where the crime was committed. Deportation. Surrender. Delivery. Transfer. Should countries cooperate more on extradition to ensure criminals face justice? Absolutely. Extradition ensures that criminals cannot escape justice by fleeing to another country. Deportation of criminals to the country where they committed their crimes is essential in maintaining the integrity of legal systems. However, the process should ensure the fairness of trials and prevent political misuse. Subpoena. A legal document that orders a person to attend court or produce evidence. Summons. Warrant. Court order. Citation. What do you think about the use of a subpoena in legal cases? A subpoena is a crucial legal tool that helps ensure that people attend court or provide important evidence. It's essential for justice that people comply with a court order when they're legally required to do so. If someone tries to evade the legal process, they should be held accountable for ignoring the summons. Exoneration. The action of officially absolving someone from blame, especially after a conviction. Absolution. Pardon. Vindication. Clearance. How do you feel about the process of exoneration for wrongfully convicted individuals? Exoneration is crucial for maintaining justice, especially when someone is wrongfully convicted. It's essential that the legal system offers vindication for those who have been unjustly accused. Without this process, absolution would be impossible, leaving many innocent individuals suffering. Mandatory sentencing. A fixed and non-negotiable prison sentence for certain crimes. Compulsory sentence. Prescribed punishment. Fixed penalty. Statutory sentence. What are your thoughts on mandatory sentencing laws in many countries? Mandatory sentencing can often be too rigid. While it might seem like a fair way to ensure uniformity in punishment, it fails to take into account the nuances of individual cases. A compulsory sentence might not always be suitable, as it doesn't allow for judicial discretion based on the specifics of each crime. Conviction. A formal declaration that someone is guilty of a criminal offense. Guilty verdict. Sentence. Judgment. Ruling. Do you think a conviction is always fair and just in the legal system? While a conviction is meant to reflect a fair decision based on evidence, I believe it's important to question whether guilty verdicts always align with the truth. Sometimes, mistakes can happen in the legal process, leading to wrongful convictions that need to be overturned through appeals. Probation. A period of supervised release given to an offender instead of serving time in prison. Parole. Supervision. Conditional release. Monitoring. What are the advantages of giving offenders probation instead of sending them to prison? Probation can be an effective alternative to imprisonment, as it allows individuals to reintegrate into society while still being held accountable. With supervision, offenders can be monitored for progress and have the opportunity to rehabilitate outside of prison. It also alleviates overcrowding in prisons. Inquisition. A formal investigation or questioning, often associated with religious or political trials. Investigation. Interrogation. Probe. Inquiry. How do you feel about the historical use of Inquisition during times of political or religious persecution? The Inquisition was a dark chapter in history, marked by brutal interrogation methods. It was often used to silence dissent or minority views. These acts of inquiry led to severe consequences for many innocent individuals. It's important that we learn from these events and protect civil liberties today. Amnesty. An official pardon for people who have been convicted of political offenses or other crimes. Pardon. Forgiveness. Immunity. Exoneration. Do you think amnesty should be granted to people who have committed serious crimes? Amnesty should be used cautiously, especially for severe crimes. While it may be appropriate in certain political contexts to foster peace, granting forgiveness for serious offenses can send the wrong message. However, it can also promote healing and reconciliation if done in a responsible manner. Restorative justice. A system of justice focused on repairing the harm caused by criminal behavior through reconciliation. Reconciliation. Rehabilitation. Repairing harm. Restorative approach. What is your opinion on the effectiveness of restorative justice in addressing crime? Restorative justice can be a very powerful tool for healing, as it encourages offenders to take responsibility for their actions and make amends. Unlike traditional punitive systems, it emphasizes reconciliation and the restoration of relationships. However, it may not be effective in all cases, especially with violent crimes. Disciplinary action. A penalty or punishment imposed to maintain order and correct behavior, especially in a work or school setting. Punishment. Sanction. Reprimand. Correction. What kind of disciplinary action should be taken in schools to address misbehavior? In schools, disciplinary action should be fair and proportional to the misbehavior. It could range from a reprimand for minor offenses to more serious measures like a temporary suspension or sanction for repeat offenders. The goal is always to correct the behavior while ensuring the punishment is appropriate. Correctional facility. A prison or institution where offenders are housed for the purpose of rehabilitation or punishment. Prison. Jail. Detention center. Penal institution. What do you think of the conditions in correctional facilities? Correctional facilities should focus on rehabilitation, not just punishment. However, many prisons around the world are overcrowded and underfunded, leading to poor living conditions. Ideally, these institutions should offer educational programs and work opportunities that help offenders reintegrate into society. Judiciary. The system of courts that interprets and applies the law in legal cases. Courts. Legal system. Legal authority. Court system. How important do you think the judiciary is in maintaining law and order in society? The judiciary plays a crucial role in upholding justice by interpreting and applying laws. Without a strong legal system, it would be impossible to ensure fairness or address grievances. I believe the courts must remain impartial and independent to maintain public trust in the legal process. Commutation. The reduction of a criminal sentence, usually from a death sentence to a lesser punishment. Reduction. Relief. Mitigation. Remission. Do you think commutation is a fair practice for people on death row? I believe commutation can be fair if new evidence comes to light or if the person has shown remorse and rehabilitation. A reduction in sentence can offer a second chance for some, but it should be carefully considered, especially for serious crimes. Relief from an unjust sentence can bring justice, but it must be balanced. Suspended sentence. A sentence that is not carried out immediately but may be imposed later if the offender commits another offense. Postponed sentence. Delayed punishment. Conditional sentence. Probationary sentence. What are your thoughts on the use of a suspended sentence in the judicial system? A suspended sentence can be an effective way to give offenders a chance to avoid serving time in prison, especially for first-time offenders. It acts as a conditional sentence, meaning the individual must remain law-abiding during the probationary period. If they re-offend, the original punishment will be enforced. Banishment. The act of expelling someone from a country or community, typically as a punishment. Exile. Expulsion. Deportation. Ouster. Do you think banishment is an effective punishment for criminals? While banishment may have been historically effective in removing criminals from a community, I believe it has limitations. It does not allow for the possibility of rehabilitation, and it may be seen as a form of exile that leaves individuals in vulnerable positions. Alternatives like rehabilitation should be prioritized. Custodial sentence. A sentence where the offender is confined in prison or another correctional facility. Imprisonment. Incarceration. Detention. Confinement. What are your thoughts on the effectiveness of a custodial sentence for nonviolent crimes? A custodial sentence can be necessary for serious crimes, but for nonviolent offenses, I think alternatives like community service could be more effective. Imprisonment may not always address the root causes of criminal behavior, and detention often leads to overcrowded prisons without proper rehabilitation. Remand. The act of keeping an accused person in custody before their trial or sentencing. Detention. Holding. Confinement. Custody. Should people accused of a crime be held in remand before their trial, or should they be granted bail? The decision to place someone in remand should depend on the severity of the crime and flight risk. For minor offenses, granting bail could be appropriate, but for more serious offenses, detention might be necessary to ensure the individual appears in court. Holding someone in custody can also help prevent further crimes. Penology. The study of the punishment of crime and prison management. Criminal justice. Corrections. Penal theory. Punishment theory. How important do you think penology is in shaping modern criminal justice systems? Penology plays a vital role in shaping criminal justice systems by focusing on the effectiveness of punishments and the management of prisons. It's crucial to understand not just the nature of crimes, but also the rehabilitation aspect. The field of criminal justice has evolved to include more rehabilitative measures over time. Indictment. A formal charge or accusation of a serious crime. Charge. Accusation. Allegation. Prosecution. What do you think about the process of issuing an indictment in a criminal case? An indictment is an essential step in the legal process, as it formally charges an individual with a crime. However, it's important that the accusation is backed by substantial evidence, as false allegations can ruin lives. The legal system must ensure a fair process before proceeding with prosecution. Incarceration. The state of being confined in prison as a punishment for a crime. Imprisonment. Detention. Confinement. Custody. Do you think incarceration is the best way to handle all types of crime? Incarceration can be effective for serious offenders, but for many nonviolent crimes, it is not the best approach. Long-term detention often fails to address underlying issues, like substance abuse or mental health problems. Instead, we should focus more on rehabilitation and restorative justice, rather than simply custody. Top line. The gross revenue or total income generated by a business. Gross revenue. Total income. Revenue stream. Sales earnings. How does focusing on the top line reflect a company's growth potential? The top line, also called gross revenue or total income, showcases a company's earning ability. It emphasizes growth through increased sales and improved customer acquisition. Cash flow. The total amount of money being transferred in and out of a business. Liquidity movement. Financial inflow. Revenue circulation. Capital stream. Why is cash flow management vital for the success of businesses? Cash flow, referred to as liquidity movement or capital stream, ensures smooth operations. Effective management prevents cash shortages and supports strategic investments. Depreciation. The reduction in the value of an asset over time. Value reduction. Amortization. Decline in worth. Devaluation. Why is understanding depreciation essential in financial management? Depreciation, such as value reduction or devaluation, reflects an asset's aging process. It aids businesses in accurate financial reporting and planning for replacements. Cartel. A group of independent businesses working together to control prices or limit competition. Trade alliance. Syndicate. Price-fixing group. Trade coalition. Why are cartels often seen as harmful to free markets? Cartels, like trade alliances or syndicates, restrict competition by manipulating markets. This can harm consumers by inflating prices and reducing choices. Takeover. The acquisition of control over another company. Acquisition. Buyout. Purchase. Corporate control. How does a takeover impact the structure and operations of businesses? A takeover, whether through acquisition or buyout, can bring growth or challenges. It often integrates teams and resources but may also disrupt the company culture. Capital market. A financial market where long-term debt or equity-backed securities are traded. Investment market. Equity market. Funding platform. Financial exchange. How does the capital market facilitate economic growth? The capital market, like an equity market or funding platform, supports businesses by raising funds. It allows investors and companies to collaborate, stimulating growth. Asset stripping. The practice of buying a company to sell its assets for profit. Asset disposal. Liquidation. Resource sale. Breakup sale. Why is asset stripping a controversial business practice? Asset stripping, such as asset disposal or liquidation, can dismantle companies for profit. While it yields quick returns, it often overlooks long-term business sustainability. Biopsy. A medical procedure that removes tissue for examination. Tissue sampling. Diagnostic test. Specimen collection. Medical examination. Why is a biopsy an important diagnostic tool in modern medicine? A biopsy, also referred to as tissue sampling or a diagnostic test, provides critical insights into illnesses. It aids in detecting diseases early and ensuring accurate treatments. Catheter. A thin tube inserted into the body to drain fluids or deliver medication. Medical tube. Drainage device. Medical instrument. Flexible tube. Why are catheters important in medical procedures? Catheters, such as medical tubes or drainage devices, assist in removing fluids or administering medications. They are crucial in managing conditions and ensuring patient care. Chemotherapy. A treatment using drugs to destroy or slow the growth of cancer cells. Cancer therapy. Drug treatment. Anti-cancer treatment. Chemical therapy. How does chemotherapy help in fighting cancer? Chemotherapy, like cancer therapy or anti-cancer treatment, targets cancer cells effectively. It slows their growth, improving survival rates and providing hope for recovery. Rheumatology. The study and treatment of rheumatic diseases affecting joints and muscles. Joint medicine. Arthritis treatment. Autoimmune study. Musculoskeletal care. Why is rheumatology significant in treating chronic joint conditions? Rheumatology, including arthritis treatment or musculoskeletal care, addresses chronic pain. It improves patients' quality of life through specialized care for joint health. Suture. A stitch or row of stitches used to close wounds or surgical incisions. Stitch. Seam. Surgical thread. Medical stitching. How do sutures contribute to the recovery process in surgeries? Sutures, such as stitches or surgical threads, hold tissues together. They promote proper healing and reduce the risk of infection after injuries or surgical procedures. Urology. The branch of medicine dealing with the urinary system and male reproductive organs. Urinary medicine. Kidney care. Genitourinary study. Urologic science. Why is urology essential in maintaining urinary and reproductive health? Urology, also known as urinary medicine or kidney care, diagnoses and treats related disorders. It ensures proper system functioning, improving patients' overall well-being. Ophthalmology. The branch of medicine that deals with the eye and its diseases. Eye medicine. Vision science. Ocular treatment. Eye care. Why is ophthalmology crucial for early detection of eye disorders? Ophthalmology, such as eye care or ocular treatment, diagnoses conditions early. It prevents vision loss and promotes healthy eyesight through advanced medical interventions. Otorhinolaryngology. The study of diseases of the ear, nose, and throat, ENT. ENT medicine. Otolaryngology. Head-neck medicine. ENT science. How does otorhinolaryngology improve the quality of life for patients? Otorhinolaryngology, or ENT medicine in head-neck care, treats conditions affecting hearing, breathing, and speech. It enhances comfort and overall health for individuals. Dermatology. The branch of medicine dealing with skin, hair, and nail health. Skin care. Cosmetic medicine. Dermatologic science. Skin treatment. Why is dermatology vital for overall health and confidence? Dermatology, like skin care or cosmetic medicine, addresses health issues and aesthetics. It improves conditions like acne or eczema, boosting both health and self-esteem. Radiology. The branch of medicine that uses imaging to diagnose and treat diseases. Medical imaging. Diagnostic imaging. Imaging science. X-ray technology. How does radiology contribute to modern medical practices? Radiology, such as medical imaging or X-ray technology, enables accurate diagnosis. It helps detect diseases early, ensuring timely and effective treatment for patients. Oncology. The study and treatment of tumors and cancer. Cancer medicine. Tumor science. Cancer therapy. Oncology care. Why is oncology crucial in the fight against cancer? Oncology, including cancer therapy or tumor science, specializes in managing cancer. It combines research, diagnosis, and treatment to improve survival rates and quality of life. Stethoscope. A medical instrument used to listen to sounds inside the body. Listening device. Diagnostic tool. Medical instrument. Acoustic device. Why is the stethoscope still an iconic tool in medicine? Stethoscopes, such as diagnostic tools or acoustic devices, help monitor internal sounds. They allow doctors to evaluate heart and lung health efficiently, ensuring accurate diagnoses. Antidote. A substance that counteracts poison or harmful effects. Remedy. Counteragent. Neutralizer. Cure. How does an antidote save lives in emergency medical situations? Antidotes, like remedies or neutralizers, combat toxins effectively. They work swiftly to reverse harmful effects, providing life-saving support in critical medical emergencies. Homeopathy. A system of alternative medicine based on the principle of like cures like. Natural medicine. Alternative therapy. Holistic remedy. Complementary medicine. Why is homeopathy a popular alternative approach to conventional medicine? Homeopathy, such as natural medicine or holistic remedies, focuses on stimulating the body's healing processes. It appeals to individuals seeking gentler, non-invasive treatments. Chiropractic. A healthcare practice focused on diagnosing and treating musculoskeletal disorders. Spinal care. Manual therapy. Adjustments. Alignment therapy. How does chiropractic treatment benefit patients with back and neck pain? Chiropractic care, like spinal care or manual therapy, offers drug-free solutions. It addresses misalignments, providing pain relief and improving mobility for affected patients. Syringe. A medical instrument used to inject or withdraw fluids. Injector. Medical tube. Hypodermic device. Needle instrument. How does a syringe assist in modern healthcare procedures? A syringe, like an injector or hypodermic device, enables precision in delivering medications. It is vital for vaccinations and intravenous treatments, ensuring patient safety. Ointment. A topical medication used to heal or soothe the skin. Salve. Balm. Cream. Topical remedy. Why are ointments an effective form of treatment for skin conditions? Ointments, like salves or balms, provide localized healing. They soothe irritation, promote skin recovery, and act as a protective barrier against infections. Analgesic. A medication that relieves pain. Painkiller. Anesthetic. Pain reliever. Numbing agent. How do analgesics enhance the quality of life for patients in pain? Analgesics, such as painkillers or anesthetics, effectively alleviate discomfort. They play a crucial role in post-surgical care, chronic pain management, and overall well-being. Anticoagulant. A drug that prevents blood clotting. Blood thinner. Coagulant inhibitor. Clot preventer. Anti-clotting agent. Why are anticoagulants necessary in managing cardiovascular health? Anticoagulants, like blood thinners or clot preventers, reduce risks of clots. They are life-saving for patients with heart conditions, ensuring smooth blood circulation. Decongestant. A medication that relieves nasal congestion. Nasal reliever. Sinus medication. Airway opener. Respiratory aid. How do decongestants improve respiratory conditions during illness? Decongestants, like nasal relievers or airway openers, ease breathing by reducing swelling. They provide relief from colds and sinusitis, improving comfort and functionality. Hypnotic. A drug that induces sleep or relaxation. Sedative. Sleep aid. Relaxant. Tranquilizer. Why are hypnotics prescribed to individuals with sleep disorders? Hypnotics, such as sedatives or sleep aids, promote restorative sleep. They address insomnia, enabling patients to improve mental and physical health by ensuring adequate rest. Prophylactic. A measure or medication used to prevent disease. Preventive. Protective measure. Disease deterrent. Precautionary tool. How do prophylactic treatments contribute to public health? Prophylactics, like preventive tools or protective measures, stop diseases before they occur. Vaccinations are an excellent example, safeguarding individuals and communities. Lozenge. A small medicated tablet for soothing the throat. Cough drop. Throat candy. Medicated sweet. Pastille. Why are lozenges a convenient remedy for throat irritation? Lozenges, such as cough drops or medicated sweets, deliver targeted relief. They dissolve slowly, soothing the throat and reducing inflammation in a portable, easy-to-use form. Draft. A dose of liquid medicine. Drinkable remedy. Medicinal drink. Liquid dose. Potion. Why is the draft form of medication useful for patients? Drafts, like drinkable remedies or medicinal drinks, provide fast absorption. They are especially effective for patients who struggle with swallowing pills, ensuring quick relief. Salve. A soothing balm applied to the skin. Healing balm. Skin remedy. Topical solution. Soothing cream. Why are salves commonly used for minor injuries and skin conditions? Salves, such as healing balms or topical solutions, aid in skin repair. They soothe burns, cuts, and other irritations, offering quick relief and promoting recovery. Sickness and symptoms. Signs or conditions indicating illness. Illness signs. Medical indicators. Health issues. Disease symptoms. Why is recognizing symptoms key to effective treatment? Sickness and symptoms, such as medical indicators or illness signs, guide diagnosis. Early detection helps in timely interventions, ensuring better health outcomes. Palpitation. A noticeably strong, fast, or irregular heartbeat. Fluttering heart. Heart thumping. Cardiac tremor. Rapid pulse. How can palpitation affect overall health, and when should it be checked? Palpitations, such as heart thumping or rapid pulses, may signal stress or health issues. Persistent cases warrant medical attention to prevent potential cardiac problems. Eczema. A skin condition characterized by red, itchy, and inflamed patches. Dermatitis. Skin inflammation. Chronic rash. Skin irritation. How does eczema impact daily life, and what are its treatment options? Eczema, like dermatitis or skin irritation, causes discomfort. With proper management, such as moisturizers and medical treatments, individuals can maintain healthy skin. Pneumonia. A lung infection causing inflammation and fluid buildup. Lung infection. Respiratory disease. Pulmonary inflammation. Chest infection. Why is early treatment vital in managing pneumonia effectively? Pneumonia, such as lung or chest infections, can escalate quickly. Early treatment, including antibiotics and oxygen therapy, ensures recovery and prevents complications. Frostbite. An injury caused by freezing of the skin and underlying tissues. Freezing injury. Cold damage. Tissue freeze. Ice burn. Why is frostbite prevention crucial in extreme weather conditions? Frostbite, such as freezing injuries or tissue freeze, damages the skin permanently. Prevention through proper clothing and awareness ensures safety during cold climates. Catarrh. Excessive mucus buildup in the nose or throat due to inflammation. Nasal congestion. Sinus mucus. Respiratory irritation. Throat phlegm. How does catarrh affect daily activities, and how can it be managed? Catarrh, like nasal congestion or sinus mucus, disrupts breathing and comfort. Management involves decongestants, steam inhalation, and avoiding irritants for symptom relief. Malaise. A general feeling of discomfort, unease, or illness. Lethargy. Fatigue. Unwellness. Discomfort. How does malaise signal the onset of a potential illness? Malaise, such as fatigue or unwellness, acts as an early warning. It encourages individuals to seek medical advice, leading to prompt diagnosis and appropriate treatment. Contagion. The spread of a disease through direct or indirect contact. Infection. Transmission. Contamination. Infectious spread. How does understanding contagion help in controlling pandemics? Contagion, such as infection or transmission, highlights how diseases spread. Knowing this aids in implementing measures like hygiene and vaccination to protect communities. Malady. A disease or serious health disorder. Illness. Ailment. Affliction. Disorder. How does addressing a malady early improve health outcomes? A malady, like an ailment or affliction, can be effectively treated with early intervention. Timely medical care prevents complications and improves overall well-being. Congestion. An excessive accumulation of fluid, usually in blood vessels or airways. Blockage. Obstruction. Overcrowding. Stuffiness. How does managing congestion alleviate respiratory issues? Congestion, such as blockage or stuffiness, disrupts normal breathing. Remedies like decongestants or steam inhalation provide relief and improve airflow. Lesion. A region of damaged tissue caused by injury or disease. Wound. Damage. Mark. Injury. Why are lesions important indicators in medical diagnosis? Lesions, like wounds or marks, serve as clues for underlying diseases. They guide healthcare professionals in identifying conditions and designing treatment plans. Ulcer. An open sore on the skin or mucous membranes. Sore. Wound. Lesion. Erosion. How can treating ulcers improve a patient's overall health? Ulcers, such as sores or lesions, cause discomfort and complications if untreated. Proper care, including medication and dietary changes, speeds healing and restores comfort. Pathogen. A microorganism that causes disease. Germ. Virus. Bacteria. Microbe. Why is identifying pathogens critical in controlling diseases? Pathogens, like germs or microbes, are the root cause of infections. Timely identification allows for targeted treatments, reducing their spread and impact on health. Indisposition. A mild illness or feeling of unwellness. Discomfort. Ailment. Sickness. Illness. How can addressing an indisposition prevent more serious health issues? Indispositions, like sickness or discomfort, signal early health concerns. Proper rest, hydration, or medical advice ensures quick recovery and prevents complications. Bout. A short period of intense activity or illness. Episode. Attack. Fit. Spell. How does experiencing a bout of illness affect daily life? A bout, such as an episode or spell, disrupts routines and lowers productivity. Recovering fully requires rest, medical care, and adjustments to daily activities. Patient 0. The first identified case in an outbreak. Index case. First carrier. Initial patient. Origin case. Why is finding patient 0 important in epidemiology? Patient 0, also called the index case or origin case, helps trace the source of an outbreak. This insight informs effective containment and prevention strategies.